Welcome to my live broadcast tonight from my office in Elmwood Park, New Jersey. For those of you who are new, my name is Teresa St. Francis. I am a spiritual messenger, healer, pet psychic, and very proud author of the book, What Happens the Day After? Messages from Adolescent Suicides. And the reason we're going live tonight is I want to talk about the Parkland, Florida adolescent suicides and what has transpired over the last week or so in reference to many people questioning their reason for being here. In reading a lot of the articles online, I have heard the term suicide or survivor guilt, and seeing what has transpired from these individuals who claim to have taken their life, or their family has claimed that they've taken their life because of survivor guilt, led me down a conversation with Spirit to talk about life contracts and how this all unfolds and why certain people survive and certain people don't. And not only in reference to mass shootings, school shootings, but let's also talk about and include in this conversation people who had similar cancers, why one person survives and the other person doesn't, or for that matter, any disease. Why is it seems like a select few might survive and others don't? And I think we need to talk about what I wrote in my book, What Happens the Day After? Messages from Adolescent Suicides, is life contracts, which are designed before we get here, and how that unfolds in our lifetime here. It's a very complicated process in how we've deciphered and decided to come here and decipher what challenges, opportunities, successes, and failures we will experience in this lifetime. And in those life contracts, it's a very detailed outline of how we're going to get here, the life that we've chosen, where we've chosen to live, the family, siblings, parents, extended family, even animals are in our life contract. And they've outlined that in the details of what experiences we're going to share and learn with the individuals we're going to come in contact with in our lives. Now, some people will stay, and we've heard this often, and there is a quote that will stay for a day, a week, a month, a year, a lifetime. And that will be depicted in your life contract because your life contract is interwoven with other people. We don't come on this planet as a sole ownership of our life. We come onto this world and into this world interconnected with our family, friends, associates, culture, society. We've chosen many aspects of our lives, down to the finite detail of what eye color we're going to have, what type of body type we're going to maintain, how tall we're going to be. Every detail is scripted in this life contract. And in doing so, it's outlined what experiences and interactions we're going to have with people on this earth. Unfortunately, it's also scripted the positive and the negative. And there are a fair amount of negatives these days. You know, we're right now in Mercury in retrograde. We've had a lot of solar flares in the last 7 days, which are all energy impacting situations that affect the way we think, that affect the way things are communicated, the way things function. So, for example, communication between individuals, transportation, computers, all that is affected by Mercury in retrograde. Some of it gets jumbled, some of it gets contorted, some of it gets fixed, some of it gets broken. And it's the up and downs of our lives, impacted not only by the environment we live in, but the universe and how it decides to vibrate. All this playing a part in who we are and how we live here on the earth, which is why I truly believe these Parkland Florida suicides were deeply influenced by the Mercury in retrograde, solar flares, the feeling of imbalance. In reading a lot of my posts and speaking to a lot of my clients in the last week to a month, there seems to be a lot of synchronicity in the conversations I'm having with people in reference to how they're feeling unsettled, imbalanced, tired, edgy, overwhelmed, even a little fearful or scared. This energy and this imbalance plays a part in how we think about ourselves and how we view situations in our lives, which I think also had an impact on the Parkland, Florida suicides and how their mindset was at the time of their passing, what they were thinking about. Besides having survivor's guilt, I believe there was a lot of external factors, like we've just previously mentioned, that hampered their ability to think clearly, to see things clearly. And that affects all of us. And my heart just breaks to the family, friends, and society down in Parkland, Florida, because of these two individuals who took their lives, both being survivors of the Parkland massacre, school massacre, have taken themselves out of the equation into living the life that they love and fulfilling their life contract and destiny. We are all interconnected and we are all codependent on each other to fulfill our contracts. And in fulfilling our contracts, we have to be present in our lives to do that, because we are instrumental in coordinating with spirit how our experiences are molded and shaped. Each one of us together shapes another person as well as ourselves. So if somebody is not here, not present, that situation goes unaddressed, which is one of the aspects of what happens when you leave early and what you have to do on the other side, which is the premise of my book, What Happens the Day After, Messages from Adolescent Suicides. I do a lot of client readings with surviving family members of suicides, whether it be adolescent or adult, as well as in my readings, I do a lot of connecting loved ones, family, friends, pets, on the other side for closure, healing, love, support, compassion, forgiveness. It's important that we remember we are all interconnected, whether we're here living or on the other side. And I am having a hard time with the Parkland suicides, because I really feel if they understood their life contract, their purpose, their destiny, they might not have been so quick to leave this earth. They might have stayed and fulfilled their destiny of helping other people, spreading the word. I think survivors of suicide or disease or cancer often, and I am a survivor of cancer, so I can tell you, I often think, why did I get to stay and others who have had the same type of cancer at the same level of cancer that I had didn't make it, and I did. And vice versa. Others that did make it and others who didn't. And I've talked to a lot of cancer survivors, and there's a lot of that survivor's guilt or questioning on why one person stays and one person goes. It's because we all have a life contract and a plan, and the Creator, for whatever reasons the Creator has decided to leave those here on this planet to do a job. That job could be saying a kind word to somebody who's really in need. Also could be just smiling. Could be that person who has a great gift of compassion and hope and shares that with the world. You know, we've all seen individuals in our lives who bring something to the table extremely unique and wonderful that they're filled of. I've met children who are in the cancer ward full of hope and have a message of faith and love and inspiration. They are infectious in spreading that message and that energy. That's important. Maybe that's one of the reasons why they're at where they're at, is because they need to spread that energy into that area with those people. And in doing so, spread the love and light, spread the compassion. All too often, I find people minimize who they are, minimize their gifts. Gifts are not great magnitudes of blessings. You know, I posted several weeks ago, what would be a blessing or a gift you'd like to have that you don't? And for me, it's the ability to sing. And that to me would be a wonderful gift. I have many other gifts that I cherish and I value. And in reading the posts, there were many other gifts that people sought to have as well. And then I posted shortly after that, what's the gifts that you cherish that have been given to you by the Creator? And many people didn't put the basic gifts of love, compassion, empathy, forgiveness. Those are phenomenal gifts. Those abilities to have that in your life and show it to other people, give the other people in your life that are surrounded by you the opportunity to learn from you, to share with you, to acquire what they might not be able to get for themselves by watching you do it. And you can be the inspiration for others. That's why when I talk to survivors, I often want to talk about sharing that essence, that authentic you. What is in that authentic you that makes you unique? And we all have something, and usually more than one thing, that makes us truly unique, that makes us truly authentic. Let's not forget the simple things, the things that make us a great human being, a loving human being. Sharing those basic tenets of humanity through our spiritual essence gives us the ability to raise people's light, hope, love, sincerity, truth. The things that people forget to look at, forget to invest in. And investing in those characteristics that give us character, that give us a moral barometer, allow all of us to grow, to share, and to help those who are in need, whether they're fearful, afraid, emotionally overwhelmed, frightened, don't know how to love, don't know how to forgive or be compassionate or have empathy. Sometimes by showing somebody your authentic you, you've shown them how to have something that they need to learn how to acquire. And we all need to learn how to forgive, how to love. Yeah, there are basic tenets within our soul that give us those components to love, but showing on a human basis, on an everyday level of how to love, how to be compassionate, how to have patience, that's acquired. It's an acquired characteristic. And it takes a lifetime to learn. It takes a lifetime to share. So when I hear of the Parkland suicides because of survivor guilt, it really rocks my world, because each one of those individuals had something great to share, something great that humanity could have learned from, that we all could learn from. And leaving this planet all too early takes away that authentic essence that can't be replaced by anybody. You are unique to you. And that uniqueness brings forth beauty, hope, compassion, whatever it is that you bring to the table. And in any given situation, you can have multiple gifts that you facilitate and use in your life to help others and to help yourself. I think we are all too quick to judge, all too quick to assume. Why don't we start taking the time to ask the right questions, like, how are you? And really listen. Listen to what the other person is saying. Believe what the other person is saying. Assess what the other person is going through. We all have this intuition. Let's use it. It's that inner voice that says, I'm hearing words and I'm feeling a vibration, or I'm feeling different than what this person is saying. I truly believe, and I wrote this in the book in the last several chapters, several different ways and several different times, about friends of adolescents who are contemplating suicide or have suicide ideation would be the best identifiers of catching a child who's contemplating suicide, because friends tell friends. Adolescents won't tell an authority figure, they won't tell a teacher, they won't tell a guidance counselor, they won't tell a family member. Those deepest thoughts in the recesses of their deepest part of their mind are contained and retained for their friends. People who they can reach out to, feel safe and comfortable, but also don't feel like they'll hurt them, or they'll be, what's the word I want to say, maybe exposed. They're in so much pain that they want to reach out for help, but they don't want to do it in an adult format. They want to do it in a peer group. That's why it's really important for people to be more observant and more interactive with their children. And if they're not your children, they're your friend's children, they're children in your neighborhood, they're your neighbor's kid, take an interest. Right now, adolescent suicide is at its all-time highest ever. It's the number one reason why adolescent children from the ages of 8 to 16 pass over by taking their own life. We need to help. We need to help each other too. Adult suicide is also an issue. And we're seeing more and more of that each year that goes by. Life is hard. There's a lot of struggles, there's a lot of trials and tribulations. But we can make a difference. If you're listening to this tonight, that means you care. That means you really want to help. You want to learn about yourself. You want to learn about your environment. You want to learn how to share, how to connect with your divinity. That divinity is within you. That divinity is the love from the Creator that is interwoven in each one of us through our soul. We are God. We are light. We are love. We all have a purpose. We all have a destiny. That destiny is fulfilled by our choices and molded by our experiences. In order for that to happen, you have to be here. You have to be on earth, interacting and reacting with people in your life, with situations, whether it be work-related, personal, professional, career, religion, school. It can be difficult, it can be tough, but it's not impossible. I know bullying plays a huge part. I was bullied my whole life in school, up until I went to college. It was hard. We didn't have social media, so that when I got home, or when kids got home in my generation and in generations around me, you didn't have that peer pressure because once you left school, you left it behind. I think kids today have it much harder because it follows them. That's why in the book I talk about putting the devices down, timing them out. If you haven't read my book, What Happens the Day After, Messages from Adolescent Suicides, there are over 65-star reviews on Amazon.com, and the vast majority of them talk about the book. It profoundly changed their life. This is a life-saving book. It's not just a book about adolescent suicides. It's about a book on how to live the life that you love. And I spoke to the adolescents who have taken their life because I find them to be pure in their interpretation of what is in heaven and what they've experienced here in life. As we become adults, we become a little bit more jaded, a little bit more judgmental, and adolescents are a little bit less, what's the word I want to say? Less jaded, I guess, is a good way to put it. So please pick up my book, read it, share it. A lot of therapists have read my book, guidance counselors, and have mentioned that my book should be used in the schools for a platform of dialogue as well as a learning tool. If you'd like that, I'd love to come to your school and talk about it. I'd love to be part of the conversation and dialogue in helping young adolescents find their way, find their purpose, find their voice, find their authentic self to be the beautiful person that they have come here to be. Even through the challenges and trials and tribulations, it's really important that we encourage our children to be who they are, no matter who they are. We are all children and children of the Creator. I want to thank everybody for watching tonight. I hope you've learned something. Read my book. I'm also a psychic medium. I do private readings. You can contact me through my website, which is teresasaintfrancis.com, or call the office for an appointment, which is 201-475-1044. I hope you've enjoyed our little talk about life contracts. I go into great detail in my book. Share it. Let's talk about it. And you've been a great audience. I hope you've enjoyed it. Have a great, blessed evening. Namaste.